One of the strangest moments in Metal Gear Solid occurs during the final cutscene with Psycho Mantis. Psycho Mantis basically declares that Snake is the most evil person that he's ever met. And that's saying a lot, because Psycho Mantis is a mass murderer who's working for terrorists that are trying to launch a nuke. And so from the player's perspective, it's kind of hard to understand what Psycho Mantis could even be talking about. After all, Snake is the counter-terrorist who's trying to save innocent lives. And he repeatedly demonstrates on the battlefield that he is a noble and courageous hero. You can see it in the way he risks his life to save Meryl, or in the way he shows respect for certain honorable foes like Sniper Wolf. So all in all, it's just very weird that Psycho Mantis would describe him as evil. But then on the other hand, I think this very weirdness is kind of the whole point of Snake's story in Metal Gear Solid. Or in other words, Psycho Mantis really did see evil inside of Snake, but he also failed to see the real Snake. And to understand what this means, we have to remember that Snake is an artificial person. He was created by the government through cloning technology. And as part of this cloning process, his DNA was manipulated because his creators wanted to turn him into the ultimate killing machine. So you could say that Snake was endowed with the nature of a killer, and he possesses all of the corresponding predatory instincts. And we need to remember all of this when we try to understand why Psycho Mantis described Snake as evil. Psycho Mantis was using his psychic powers to peer into the depths of Snake's soul, and his gaze extended all the way down into the genetic foundation of Snake's nature. And he rightly saw that this genetic foundation was evil, for Snake's DNA was built for one purpose alone, and that purpose was killing. But there was still one very important detail about Snake that Psycho Mantis had failed to see with his psychic powers. It is the deceptively simple fact that Snake is not evil. This can be true even though Snake was endowed with an evil genetic nature. For Snake is also a human being, and human beings have free will. And part of that freedom involves the ability to reject one's own nature. And in some ways, you could say that Snake's journey in Metal Gear Solid is a journey to exercise precisely this freedom. It begins as Snake learns the truth about his nature as a clone and tool of war. But then, rather than accept the destiny for which he was designed, he uses this knowledge to escape his destiny and to freely build a different kind of life. There had always been a part of Snake that had enjoyed the violence of combat during his long history as a soldier, but he had always struggled to admit this to himself, at least before he understood that he was in fact a clone. But after Snake finally learns the truth about his origin, he also comes to understand that the evil pleasures that he enjoys in war need not actually belong to him. These pleasures are better understood as tools of control which his creators planted inside his soul, so as to lead him toward the evil destiny that they designed for him. But it is ultimately up to Snake to choose whether to allow these pleasures to control him, or whether to pursue an entirely different kind of life. And at the end of Metal Gear Solid, Snake chooses the different kind of life because he discovers that there are other superior forms of value and satisfaction that he can pursue, which are in fact grounded in the human relationships that he forges at Shadow Moses. He has a blossoming romance with Meryl and a friendship with Otacon. These two people give Snake a reason to fight beyond the pleasure of killing that had governed his conduct as a soldier up to that point. And most importantly of all, they give him a reason to live beyond the battlefield, away from the violence, in the company of friends.